as MJF talks about WWE attempting to sign him, in an update given on the Cain Velasquez case. This is Wrestling Hub. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report for March 2nd. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official, and also follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. The Hollywood hunk Ryan Nemeth was apparently going to be late for AEW TV due to a late flight, but Luchasaurus saved him from missing that plane. Ryan recalled the story on Twitter as he wrote, "Luchasaurus and I haven't always seen eye to eye, but today I saw a different side of him. My flight out of LA was delayed due to a medical emergency. None of my business, and I was sprinting, yes, really sprinting, except on the tram ride. Across the entirety of Dallas-Fort Worth Airport, pretty sure I was missing my connection to Jacksonville, but trying anyway. The next flight I could get on would make me late for call time tomorrow with TV. I had to try. After a long panicky run across the airport, I finally ran up to the gate. I was certain it would be closed and empty. Instead, what I saw was Luchasaurus physically holding the door open, insisting that they wait for me to get there before they take off. He knew my flight was delayed and was doing everything in his power to try to help me make it. This dinosaur man was literally holding the door and blocking it, asking the airline staff to please wait because Ryan Nemeth has to make this flight. Somehow this worked, and we all shared a laugh when they realized that I made it. Like I said, we haven't always seen eye to eye, in or out of the ring, but today his actions spoke louder than any words ever could. Put that on Reddit. Keith Lee talked to the New York Post, where he was asked about the rumored attitude issues he had in WWE, as Lee replied, "At the end of the day, man, I'm very much like these old school guys. Like, I really don't pay attention to the internet like that. And half the time I don't really pay attention to the apps. Like, I may post a thing and someone who helps me with my account may post a thing that's trying to be positive for other people or promote what I do here in AEW, especially now. I feel like this. If there's no truth to it, then why should I give it any credence? This is going to sound arrogant, and I don't really care. At the end of the day, it is beneath me, and I treat it as such." Gearing up for his title unification bout against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 38, Roman Reigns spoke on WWE's YouTube channel about his favorite Mania moment, saying, "You want me to pick my favorite WrestleMania moment? It's pretty much impossible. I have so many of them. I'm a 5-time, soon to be a 6-time WrestleMania main eventer. I should have been a 7-time main eventer if real life COVID didn't happen. As a matter of fact, I think I'll go with 2021 at Raymond James Stadium. I smashed him, stacked him up, and pinned him. I created the most definitive WrestleMania main event finish of all time. So yeah, when I beat Daniel Bryan and Edge, like it was nothing." Many are not a fan of WWE's promos being overly scripted, and Arn Anderson is no exception, with him telling Sportskeeda that this level of micromanagement does more harm than good. It's on the talent in AEW to produce who you are, what you are. Show the world what wrestler X or female wrestler X is. The onus is on you more so. On the other hand, with WWE, it's a very, very, very micromanaged, hands-on, here is the script, here is what you go by, here's what you say, and I think when you have something that micromanaged, especially on promos, you never get to hear who the real person is. You just get someone that is only studied for a test. And now I'm going to recite it to you, and I think that's harmful to the talent in the long run. Talking to Fight and Focus about his upcoming match against Eddie Kingston, Chris Jericho noted that he's prepared for this bout to steal the show at the Revolution pay-per-view. "I'm expecting it to be a show stealer, but in a completely different way than someone who's rating matches by how many high spots there. I don't think there's going to be a lot of high spots with Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho. I think there's going to be a lot of animosity, a lot of hard-hitting. Violence is cliche, but I think it's going to be a fight everybody can feel while they're watching." With him not being able to come to terms on a new contract with WWE, Cesaro was no longer a part of the company. While this came as a shock to fans, Samoa Joe expected this to happen, saying on Busted Open Radio, "No, I'm not surprised Cesaro left. Obviously, Cesaro is an unbelievably skilled athlete. I think Cesaro has towed the line above and beyond during his tenure in WWE, and I think he's been one of the most consistent performers year after year, and a dependable guy. I think you talk about the world as an oyster. I genuinely believe that is very much the case with Cesaro. There will be numerous opportunities for him, tons of interest, and there should be. This guy is still in his prime, still ready to rock and roll, and very very focused. He probably has a renewed focus in life now, so I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with Cesaro in the future." Going back to the topic of the Revolution pay-per-view, AEW President Tony Khan noted while speaking to DAZN that this show will be the promotion's finest hour. Really, this is perhaps the best card we've ever assembled. We've hit our stride with our pay-per-view offerings recently, and you can see that with what we try to deliver to our fans in 2021. We want to continue to give our fans excellent quality when they sit down to watch AEW. We can't just deliver one big show, then be satisfied. We have to keep moving forward. At Revolution, with the names involved, I think you're going to see an excellent wrestling show. I'm very confident that the talent will deliver in the ring, but it's also important that we use the show to build what we want to do for the rest of the year. This is going to be a show where some storylines end, but you're also going to see new storylines emerge. We've built into the show so well in recent weeks, and you'll see the hard work pay off at Revolution. In AEW, MJF has become one of the promotion's hottest stars. His contract with the company is set to expire in 2024, with him previously saying there will be a bidding war for him. On the Wrestling with Freddie podcast, MJF talked about WWE attempting to sign him down the road. "I genuinely believe WWE is going to be willing to do whatever it takes to get me to jump ship, because to have me is to pretty much take a sniper rifle and shoot the heart of all elite wrestling, because that is exactly what I am. I'm the glue, because everyone around me hates my guts. Everybody wants to punch me in the face. I am the top tier guy that everybody has a problem with. When you take your biggest antagonist, even though personally I feel I'm a protagonist, when you take your biggest antagonist and you take them away, what do you have? What is the Batman without the Joker? He's nobody. He is boring and has no intrigue whatsoever. There is just no success without having that thorn in your side. I got no problem being that thorn because it makes me a ton of money. So to answer your question, Fred, yeah, I do believe that these people are going to shill out a lot of cash for me. Talking about business ventures outside of wrestling, MJF said he'll be a movie star in a decade. By the time I turn 35 though, I'm probably going to be well and done with wrestling. I'll have probably achieved everything that I possibly can in the pro wrestling genre, and by that time I can imagine all of you will be seeing me on billboards for movies and TV shows. RK Bro took on the Street Profits in tag team action where Randy Orton would end up hurt from a botched frog splash. This led to WWE making changes during the bout, as Fightful reported. We're told that Orton and Riddle were originally slated to win the match with a series of RKOs, but because of Orton's condition at the time, it didn't happen. As we mentioned on the post-show review last night, initial indications were that it was just a stinger or a tweak, but WWE plans on monitoring the situation as a lot can change overnight. Since then, we've heard it was a bit of a combo of Orton getting the win knocked out of him, his ribs crushed, and not being able to move. We're told there was no heat on Montez Ford on the spot, and it was considered a shit happens moment. On the Masked Man show, AEW star Bryan Danielson said he wants to face the Son of Taz, Hook, so we can see his approach to pro wrestling. My time in AEW, I've been excited for all the matches because they are all, it's not like I'm wrestling the same guy twice. With the exception of the Hangman matches, and both of those matches were different animals, and I was excited for both of them. I wrestled Lee Moriarty and Daniel Garcia in the last 2 weeks, and not that I picked those two people, they just made sense with the story. I was really excited to see what they could bring to the table, to put to them, hey, what do you want fun out of this match. I don't want to tell you how to do this match. I want to see what you think this match should be. That was a lot of fun for me. They're both young, but they both have really good heads on their shoulders, and two completely different human beings and different approaches to wrestling. That's been fun for me too, being around the younger guys. Maybe they learned something from me, I don't know, but I'm always interested in their perspective on wrestling, because I don't know how Daniel Garcia is, but say Hook, he wasn't even born when I started wrestling. He doesn't know Vader vs. Sting from '92, let alone the '80s stuff I watched as a kid, because he has no reference to that. His reference for wrestling is completely different. I'm interested to see their perspective. It's always a learning experience for me, and that's a lot of fun. With her having surgery for a torn ACL in January of last year, reports had come out saying Bayley would likely be back for WrestleMania 38, but PW Insiders noted that is not the case. Bayley, the current plan is for her to return to TV regularly after WrestleMania. Former UFC heavyweight champion Cain Velasquez was recently arrested on charges of attempted murder. Now, the Mercury News has noted that on Tuesday, Cain allegedly shot and injured the stepfather of Harry Eugene Goulardi. Goulardi had been previously charged with molesting a close relative of Cain at a daycare in San Martin, California, run by Goulardi's mother. Last Friday, Goulardi was arraigned with one felony count of a lewd act with a child under 14 as the judge granted him a supervised release. At 3:15 p.m. on Monday, Velasquez apparently shot multiple rounds at a car carrying Goulardi, his stepfather, and one other person. While the stepfather was struck, he is expected to survive. Velasquez is being held at Santa Clara County Jail without bail, as we'll keep you up to speed on this case. So far, Cain has 10 charges against him, including first-degree attempted murder, multiple accounts of assault with a deadly weapon, as well as shooting a motor vehicle while having people inside. Santa Clara County DA Jeff Rosen would say the sad tragedy is that Mr. Velasquez chose to take the law into his own hands, endangering the public and everyone in the truck. This act of violence also causes more pain and suffering to his family. Unfortunately, WWE Hall of Famer Scott Hall had a fall resulting in a hip injury. He was at the hospital today, as we wish him all the best en route to his appearance for WrestleCon 2022 during Mania weekend. Mike Johnson of PW Insider would also report that WWE has released their Global Talent Strategy and Development Manager, Lizette Pineda. She'd been a part of the company since January of 2020, with WWE releasing this statement. With the continued evolution of NXT 2.0, we've decided to part ways with some of the staff based in our Performance Center. We thank them for their many contributions throughout the years, and we wish them the best. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.